Hey gang, JC here, and this is the Daily Dose for Friday, July 22nd, 2011. Where has the summer gone? I'll tell you where it's gone. It's gone out the window in your air conditioning bill. This is just getting... we had Dave Murray on the air earlier in the week on the Big 550 KTRS where Trish Gazelle and I do the show every day, Monday through Friday, noon to 3. And Dave says, well, I think we're going to get a break in the heat maybe on Monday of next week. And it's like, okay, yeah, and it's going to be like 91. And then it's going to go right back into the soup, back into the middle 90s. So this is officially incredible. But here we go. We're a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. Great television archives at the top of the page. And, of course, we have our eye candy along the bottom. And then over here is our rock and roll poll question. And again, you surprised me with your answers. Our question yesterday, do you have a gun in your house? And a resounding 55% of you said no. And I'm stunned by that because a stun gun. You get the idea that everybody has a gun or something. And then you start thinking about it. It's like, well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's a case of the people who have guns are very prominent in their ownership of those guns. They talk about it all the time, stuff like that. And when it comes right down to it, still the majority of the population maybe doesn't have a gun. I don't have a gun. But I've softened on my position over the years. And I can understand, particularly depending on maybe a certain part of town that you live in or something like that, where by the time the police would get there, or you even hear stories that police don't even bother showing up anymore in some cases because the crime areas are so terrible. I can understand you having a gun. We've seen awful things happen with regard to guns here. These are perhaps more safety issues than they are gun issues. But anyhow, 55% of you said no. 29% of you, number two answer, say yes, it's loaded but very safely locked up or stored. And yes, it is loaded and ready to use at a moment's notice was our number three answer at 16%. All right, today's rock and roll poll question. You had the shuttle come down for the last time earlier this week. That's it. So now that the shuttle program is a thing of the past, should the government continue to appropriate a reasonable amount of money for NASA to continue space operations? A lot of people say, no, we got enough problems down here and the money could be better spent. Well, then you start thinking about it and you're like, well, yeah, but once man stops exploring the world around him and the world beyond, that's really sort of a sorry situation too. Man should always be exploring. But the question is it this way? So, yes or no? Should there be a reasonable amount of money still funded to NASA through the United States federal government for space exploration? All right, this is it. This weekend, those of you who have friended me on Facebook at JC Corcoran need to go over to the Showgram with JC Corcoran because this weekend we are converting that original site, JC Corcoran, back over to a personal Facebook account because we keep going over the 5,000 limit. It's jamming everything up. So everything related to the show and sort of my professional persona is shifted this weekend, is being shifted over to the Showgram, S-H-O-W, the Showgram with JC Corcoran. You need to transfer your friending of me from JC Corcoran over to the Showgram with JC Corcoran because you're going to get purged over the weekend. So you got to do it. Please do it. Thank you very much. It's just going to make life easier for everybody. And we update our stuff on the Showgram page every day. And it's in your best interests to go over there instead of being on my personal site. So please do that. And we thank you for that. Hey, we just booked Lisa Kudrow for next week on the Showgram on the Big 550 KTRS. We're looking forward to that. She has a new show on Showtime called Web Therapy. We're looking forward to talking to her. It's almost like a story or two a day now on the reason for this breakup of Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez. And the latest two come from pretty reliable sources. They say that Mark Anthony nailed a flight attendant on a private plane a couple of years ago. That was in 2009. And then last Christmas they almost broke up because she makes more than he does, and he racked up a $3.5 million bill. And she said, I'm not going to keep bailing him out. Hulk Hogan. This would fall under the heading of the charm of professional wrestling. Remember Andre the Giant? He was in The Princess Bride and obviously part of the whole wrestling thing. The man had fingers. Each finger was like as wide as my arm. And Hulk Hogan says that once during a wrestling match, Andre the Giant checked his oil. That is a wrestling term for taking your finger and putting it into his business. And that's a big finger, too. You'd notice that. There's a flaw in Kim Kardashian's body. She has the heartbreak of psoriasis. She's got spots on her legs. New preview of Beavis and Butthead. They're bringing that back, and it's pretty pathetic. It just doesn't seem to work anymore. And there's a new trailer out for the next season of Dexter. That's available online, too. And as you heard on Trish's Trash yesterday, and Trish does that at 10 before 3, every day on the Big 550 KTRS. Sharon Osbourne taking a break from the talk to spend quality time with Ozzy. He's been on tour for the last 18 months. I don't know, if you ask me, I think probably Ozzy thinks that she's been on tour with him. Remember how NBC, we told you about this a couple of months back, redoing Wonder Woman, bringing Wonder Woman back on NBC. Well, they decided not to put it on the fall schedule, and now we know why. It stinks. It's terrible. And there's some stuff online if you want to see some of the stuff that they shot. And it's sort of, you're like sitting there going, wow, this is awful. So at least they knew. We've known for a long time that women live longer than men. Nobody's been able to figure it out. People have had theories, but women live on an average 7 years longer than men. Well, nobody knows for sure, but here are the latest interconnected theories, and they seem to make sense. Number one, biology. Women fight stress, heart disease, and cancer better than men. Risk-taking. Well, men, do like stupid stuff in cars and boats and with guns, and so that has something to do with it. Lifestyle choices. Men smoke and drink more and are more likely to do drugs and sort of, drive and live fast. And socializing. Women reduce their stress by communicating their feelings and emotions, usually with other women. And it's sort of, they say laughter is a good thing. That's why I'm going to live to be 100. A Swiss pilot calls his mother from the cockpit of a small plane that he rented and says, "Mom, I'm going to drop in." And then he flew the plane through her bedroom window. She was in the basement at the time. It was a suicide, I was going to say attempt, but it was actually, it was more than an attempt. He made it. He succeeded. All right, it was back on this date in 1970 that, one of the coolest pop songs ever made by Freda Payne called Band of Gold was out. And then a year later on this date, Jim Morrison and the Doors had a gold record with L.A. Woman. Now, this was that really weird time in American pop culture and history where people were sort of making that bridge from top 40 radio over to FM. They were discovering all these cool things that were going on in the FM band. Some people didn't even know if they had a functioning FM radio in their house. And you were messing around trying to get reception and stuff like that. But you found there was really, really cool stuff. But there was still really good pop music too. And Freda Payne, Band of Gold on this date in 1970. But a year later, and let me tell you something about L.A. Woman. Sometime, I'm sure you have Riders on the Storm in your iPod or your music library or maybe on CD. Put a pair of headphones on and kill all the other sounds. Turn the headphones up really loud. You will hear, and maybe you know this, but a lot of people don't. Every time I tell people something, I tell them this, they're like, "What? Really? I got to go do this. I can't believe it." Jim Morrison recorded Riders on the Storm. He sang the lyrics, but then he went back and overdubbed all of the lyrics in a whisper. So he sings Riders on the Storm, but then he goes back and does Riders on the Storm. Does the whole song that way. You can only hear it with headphones on. It's actually pretty cool. 1971. Pretty cool year. All right, birthdays this weekend. Philip Seymour Hoffman, 44. Tomorrow, Big Lebowski, Son of a Woman, Talented Mr. Ripley, Capote, won the Oscar for that. Magnolia, Boogie Nights, Almost Famous, and with I think it's an uncle here in St. Louis. Pretty good actor. Sunday birthdays include Anna Paquin, 29. At the age of 10, back in 1993, she wins the Best Supporting Actress Oscar for The Piano. And now, every week on HBO, she strips down and shows her naughty parts, and we're better people for it. All right, JC's Eye Candy today. Yeah, things are pretty rotten right now with the economy and jobs and unemployment, and it just seems like everything's just going to hell in a handbag right in front of us. And then every once in a while, you see something and you think to yourself, okay, maybe things aren't so bad. Maybe we got a chance. That's all I'm going to tell you, but please check out the eye candy right below. Maybe things aren't so bad after all. Have a great weekend, everybody. That's it. JC's Daily Dose for Friday, July 22nd, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. Don't forget to answer our rock and roll poll question. What about NASA? Should they still get money from the federal government so that man can continue to explore? Answer right there. We have the results for you on Monday. Stay cool, fool. We'll see you Monday here at jcontheline.com. In the meantime, we beat this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.